Hello friends, welcome back to the Craft Castle. Today we're going to be upping our dress up game today. We are going to be customizing these cute little kids apron dress ups. I got them off Amazon. All the products that I'll be using will be linked in the description of this video, but I got these off of Amazon. They're 100% polyester, and look, I custom designed a cute little pizzeria thing. This last name is for the actual kids that these are going to, so you can customize it to any name that you want, but how stinking cute, and this is such an easy project to do. So this project, you are going to need a sublimation printer because this is a sublimation design. We are going to be using Cricut's free design program to design this, but we will not be using our Cricuts to cut it out. We're only going to use the design program. So for this project, you are going to need a Cricut design space. So you obviously a computer or an iPad. We are going to need another apron. Again, got these off of Amazon. You'll need some heat resistant tape, parchment paper, a fabric measuring tape, and some scissors. I am going to be using my HTV Ronce Easy Press for this project, which obviously you're not going to see right here, but it is heating up right now. So let's get started. The reason why I love Design Space so much is that they have a vast, huge library of a whole bunch of different clip arts, and I don't have to scour the internet. This is going to be a few pieces of their images that we're going to combine together to create this final logo, and it's going to be so easy. So I'm going to move this over to the left. What you're going to do if you're following along to design this is you're going to need a blank window in Design Space. And we're going to go over here into images, and we're just going to search up pizza. See how there's 297 results for pizza? I mean, the possibilities are endless. So the easy way to do this, if you want to make exactly what I create, see how we can just scroll here forever. I mean, I can do the same thing, right? But if you want to find the same images that I want, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to unflatten it. So I'm going to right click and press unflatten. Okay. Now, when I go over here into this right area, here, let me slide this over. Go over here into the right area, and you see how this guy right here, he has legs. He looks totally different than what we had before. If I right click on him on the right side and then scroll down to image info, do you see this number right here? This like hashtag letter digit number thing? You need to copy this number and then go over here into images. Remember where we put in like pizza? You would paste that hashtag number into this little search bar right here, and then it'll pop up for you. Every single clip art that I use, I will have it linked in the description of the video, or not really linked. I'll have the hashtag number that you'll need to do this. You're going to copy that and then paste it up into the search bar of the images, and they will pop up for you. Okay, so there are going to be 3 images. You're going to have the chef that looks a little weird right now, and then a banner, and then the Italian flag. We're going to start with the Italian flag. You do notice that over here on the right in the original one, it's a circle, and what I have right now is a rectangle, so we're going to go ahead and fix that. The very first thing I'm going to do is with the Italian flag, that middle is actually supposed to be white. So I'm going to come over here and I'm only going to select the off-white color. I'm going to come up here into operation and then press white. So I'm going to change that over to white. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a circle. So go over here into shapes and insert a circle. Okay, I'm going to make this circle just a little bit smaller than my original flag. You don't want it to be hanging off anywhere between like the top and bottom or over here on the left or right. Okay, when I have that all figured out, I am going to do Command D, which is duplicate, and I'm going to do that 2 times. So do 2 Command Ds and see how we have 3 colors. So we're going to need 3 circles. Selecting the 3 circles and that flag, we're going to align and then to the center. Now, the one thing that I didn't like about the original design is that where there wasn't a whole lot of green or red and there was a whole lot of just white. So I'm going to fix that. Selecting back over into my flag, I'm going to Command Shift G, which is ungroup. Okay, going back over into the flag, all I'm going to do is I'm going to scoot over. So I'm going to click just the red, and then I'm going to just use my keypad. I'm going to slide my red over just a little bit. And then just selecting that white piece, I'm going to slide it over to the right just a little bit. That way we have even amounts of all 3, or, you know, just eyeballing it, but just a little bit more of each color would be great. Okay, so when you have that all spaced out the way you want, select 1 circle, just 1, pressing shift on your keyboard and then the red portion of the flag, and then we're going to press slice. We are going to delete this portion and this portion, and then we are going to delete this outside portion. Now selecting our next gray circle, shift on our keyboard, and then the white portion of the flag, and then we're going to press slice. We're going to delete this right here, the very top portions of this. We're going to delete that. Okay, we have one more circle. So we're going to select the circle, shift on your keyboard, and then the green portion of our flag, and then we're going to press slice. Deleting that circle in this outside. Now, this green portion, we are going to arrange this to the back. And it looks really weird. So right now we're going to take that red and we're going to arrange that to the front. And that looks a whole lot better. Okay, so selecting all three of these, you see how I have it a little like cockeyed, like slanted to the left? And you see how when you put your cursor over the image, you have this like slanted arrow? That is going to make it get bigger or larger, smaller or larger. If you hover just a little bit outside of that, you see how now the arrow is like curved? That's what you want because we're going to rotate this over just a little bit. And I have like a little bit of a shadow around my flag. So I'm going to select all three of those again. I'm going to do an offset. See how that blue line just popped up? If you pressed apply, that would be your offset, and I don't want it that big. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to change my offset just to make it not as big. And then when you have an offset in the width that you want, you're just going to press apply. I'm going to keep this black. But if you wanted to change it, you would just come over here and to find your offset, click that. You can come up here and we can change it to whatever color you want, but I'm going to keep it black. Okay, going on to the next portion is going to be this chef, this pizza chef. And he's like, this is the easiest part of the entire project. All we're going to do is we're going to take him and we're just going to press flatten. See how now we have, this is what he looks like. And then if we go back, that's what he initially looked like. So we're just taking away all of his cut lines. We're making him just a cute little flattened project. And I'm just going to resize him inside of my Italian flag. We're going to go ahead and fix him in a little bit, but we want to add in the banner first. So I'm going to drag up this banner. Now, we're going to arrange this to the front. If we were to put this over the top of it, do you see how you can still see the flag in the bottom portion of the chef? But over here on the right, you can't see his legs. So what you want to do is you want to Command D, which is duplicate. It's going to pop up another one. Go back into that original one that you have, and we're going to come down here into contour. And then we want to make sure and hide all the contours. We don't want to be able to see anything from the back. So we're just going to press that hide all contours. And then we're just going to click anywhere outside of that box. So click out of the box. Now this is black. We want to change this over into white. And then we're going to select this portion or this banner, shift on our keyboard, and then that white banner. And we're going to align it a center. And so now when we drag it over, do you see how you can't see anything behind that? That's exactly what you wanted to do. The original one, the banner is going on, like it's going down. This one originally is going up. So then you want to go over here into flip, and we want to flip this vertically. See how it just flipped it? Now it is going in the correct direction. So then all you want to do is just resize this into your logo. Look at how cute it is. Okay, I'm going to make him larger. Okay, this is where you get to name it anything that you want to name it. So for this one, it was this last name. That was the project that I'm working on, but you can do whatever you want. So just for this tutorial purposes, let's put my last name, Falco. And I'm going to do Falco's because I want that pizzeria down below. So we just put the text box, add in your last name. I'm going to click out of that, and I'm just going to drag this over into my banner. Now, if you wanted to change the font, you would just come up here into font, and then you can spend the day away looking for new fonts to choose from. Okay, so when you choose your font that you initially want just for that last name, we're going to drag it up, make sure and resize this. Now, generally when it comes to something that you're trying to fill in that's curved, you would want like not a script font, so just like a block letter font, All caps would be preferred. But for this one, because there's such a little curve, for me, it doesn't really matter if we curve this or not. Generally, when you curve a script font, what ends up happening is that it has like spaces. And of course, like with cursive, it's all supposed to be connected. Okay, so I'm going to resize this, and I do want just a little bit of that curve. So with the text still selected, we're going to come up here into curve, and we're just going to curve it just a little bit. If you go to the right, you see how it's curving down. We don't want that. We want to go over here, and we want to go to the left, and we want to curve it up. And I don't want to curve it too much, because as I do that, you pay attention to the C and this O. Exactly what I said when you have scripts and they start to get disconnected. That's what happens when you start curving cursive fonts. So I want to make sure and keep it all kind of connected. When I have just a little bit of a curve, I'm going to click out of that, selecting this, and I'm going to change this over into green. Now, for my particular one, there isn't a whole lot that's hanging over, but if you look over at the original, you see how that F in this last name was going to bleed into the green of the Italian flag. If I were to leave it that way, and I come over here and I get rid of the offset, you see how all of a sudden the F disappears just a little bit? So what you need to do is you need to click on the last name, go over here into offset again, and we're just going to create the smallest offset. So the same type of theory for the Italian flag, we're just going to create a very small offset. And then when you have that, just press apply. So for this one, it just changes to black. For my original, it's white. So I'm going to make sure and have my offset clicked, and I'm going to change it over into white. Okay, and the very last thing is just adding in that pizzeria. So coming over here into text box and just put in pizzeria. And then same thing with the last name. We're going to go over here into font, and we are going to choose a font. Any font that you want. You could probably spend your entire day just trying to choose the correct font or something that speaks to you. Now for pizzeria, I did not put a curve in it, so I'm going to leave it the way it is. Now what you want to do is you want to change this over into red. Well, I mean, actually, if you wanted a different color, you could totally do a different color. I'm going to do red. So I'm going to come over here into the color option, and I'm going to choose the red and then click out of that. I wasn't too concerned about the shadow in this just because there isn't anything that is going to obstruct it. Now, if I had this up here, do you see how that eye disappears into that original red? If that was the case, I would probably do an offset, but because it's down below and there's nothing else that's red and it won't get lost in the mix, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Okay, when you have your logo, your pizzeria logo, the way you want it, we're going to select everything and we're going to press flatten. And do you see how now, like even in the green, how there was like harsh black lines? Let me go backwards. You see how this has like a harsh green line, but after we flattened, everything is just so much like neater and skinnier and not as crisp. That's what you're looking for. You're making sure that you're taking away all of those thicker black lines that you'll be able to see if you print this. So if you were to go to the next step and not flatten it, you will see these dark black lines in your print. Okay, so I'm going to select this and delete it. And then I wanted to show you this really cool thing. Over in templates, there is all of these things. So if you're doing HTV or sublimation, you're trying to put like a sticker onto something, this is like the coolest and neatest thing. So it has all of this stuff. You can even search, but then I'm sure you saw at the very top right here, there's an apron. So we can click that apron and see how this popped up. You can actually come over here and we can change this over. So if you have a different color apron, you can change it over to a different color apron. You can change it over to like a kid's half or a kid's full. I'm going to change it over into a kid's just because that's what I'm doing. We're doing dress up clothes. And it's like you can change the size, anything you wanted. Okay, so this is like where you want to readjust, like how big do we want this? The other thing too is what you could do is you could take a blank apron with a fabric measuring tool and just measure out, kind of eyeball and see how big or small you want your logo to be. But when you have that all figured out, we're going to come over here into the little lock tool. Make sure that's locked because we want to make sure and resize everything proportionately. You don't want to distort this image at all. And if it's too big for you, let's just do 6. I think 6 for me is going to look good for the aprons that I purchased. Okay, when you are done using the canvas, if you're done, we're just going to hide it and then that's it. Ta-da! Okay, so how to get this out of Design Space. You can do 2 ways. I'm going to zoom in. You can take this and go into Make It. And because it's 6 inches, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to print this just like any basic print then cut. You can come over here into Continue and then do Send to Printer. You can do Open up System Dialog and then press Print. Anytime you open up System Dialogs, it always gets sent to the back. So make this a little bit smaller and there is your menu screen. So what you want to do is you're going to change your media type over into Photo Matte Paper. And then we're going to come over here into Layout and we're going to flip horizontally. So this is what your print is going to look like. If you can read the print, stop and do not print. You want to make sure that it's not legible for you. We want to make sure to mirror this before you continue. That is one way to do a sublimation print that is the size of a print and cut. The downfall to this is that you have this black box. Now you can cut that if you wanted to. You can cut it out later after you're done printing. You could totally do that. But I don't personally like to do that. I feel like it's a waste of ink. So what I like to do is I'm going to go cancel and I'm going to cancel out of the cut. Cancel one more time. Okay, I'm going to zoom in super close. You want to kind of fill up your canvas with the print. We're going to remember our size from previous, the one that we decided it is, but we want to make sure that it's like nice and filled up. The crisper, the bigger the scan or the bigger the screenshot, it's going to make the crisper of print for you. So we're going to make sure and just fill the thing all the way up. 200 was a little bit too close in, but this one's perfect. So then I'm going to create a screenshot. So Command-Shift-4 on your keyboard if you're on a Mac and you want to take a screenshot. This little aimbot pops up and you want to draw a box around your logo. Okay, if you make your box, do you see how there's a gray box right here? If you make the box like this, everything that's over here on the right and then under here on the red portion, it's going to be cut off. That's not going to make a good screenshot. So you want to make sure whenever you do this gray box that you are creating a box around the entire thing. Nothing cuts off. If you're on a Mac and you accidentally started your box and it's too small and you're already, if I started it like this and you're already cutting off something over here on the left, just press Escape on your keyboard and it will go away. Then all you need to do is Command-Shift-4 again and the aimbot will pop up. So I'm just going to drag a box around my logo and I'm going to let it pop up. This time what I'm going to do, generally I let it disappear into my desktop, but I am going to change this because I want to make sure that the box around my logo is nice and snug. So I clicked my screenshot and I'm going to come up here and into this little crop tool and I resize my screenshot where it's nice and snug around my entire logo. This just helps get the sizing perfect. Okay. When you have it nice and snug, just press Done. My screenshots get saved onto my desktop, so wherever your screenshots get saved, go ahead and find that and open up a Pages document or a Word document or any word processor that you have. You can see mine's already on there from my aprons that I've already chosen. I'm just going to delete that. Okay, and then I'm going to find my screenshot and I'm going to drag it over into my Pages document. And remember what I said, my width on my logo is 6 inches, so I'm going to do 6 inches in the size and then press Enter. Okay, because I'm doing multiple of these, I have 3, I'm going to copy and paste and I'm just going to put 2 on one 8.5 by 11 sheet. Okay, when you have that, you want to Command P or print and then doing the same steps as what I showed you when we were in Design Space doing the print and cut. You want to go over here into Pages, Media and Quality, Photo Matte Paper, come over here into Layout, and we want to make sure and flip horizontally. So you can see how you can't read the print. That's exactly what you want when you do this. Okay, then press Print, Make sure and heat up your heat press, and then come back to me and we'll press it and make things look super cute. This is the time and temp that we're going to be using for our auto press. I already have it warmed up, and then I have a piece of parchment paper already put down. First thing you want to do is take your apron, and we want to fold this in half. Okay, and on this apron, they have these like little plastic clips. You want to make sure that it hangs off your pressing mat. You don't want to press that. I'm just going to push this all the way in, and then we're going to just press this. We're not going to press it for the full 30 seconds. We're only going to press it for like a couple seconds. When you're done, just press that R button again. Okay, let's open it up, and then we'll unfold it. So then what you should have is like a nice little crease on your apron. Taking one of your prints, remember this is backwards, and because we made sure we lined it up completely center with our piece of paper, all we're going to do is we're going to fold this in half, making sure the lines are lining up, and we're just going to press them just a little bit. You don't need a whole lot, but you just want to make like a little crease. See a little crease right there and right there? That's all you want. And what we're going to do is we're going to line up our center line with our print. When you have the center lines pushed down, you just want to take a little bit of heat resistant tape. We don't need a whole lot. We just want a couple pieces. We want to do one on each side. There is a little clip right there at the very top. We just want to make sure and push this off from the back of the pressing mat. And then I have another piece of parchment paper right here. We're going to lay this down. We're going to push it all the way in, and then we're going to press the R button, letting this fully press. Okay, when that's done, it's going to open up automatically for you. That's the beauty of the auto press. We're going to take that piece of parchment paper and move it off, and then all we need to do is peel this up. And look at how stinking cute that is. So easy to make. All right, y'all, I sure hope I inspired you to make, and I will see you later.